how many people enjoy reflecting back on their lives. I can honestly say it's not something I like to do, or do very often. Maybe at the beginning of a new year, or at the beginning of an academic year. I'm someone who thrives more on being busy doing, rather than being busy thinking and reflecting. In fact, I think my life might tire some of you introverts out. After work, I will happily meet friends for coffee, go for dinner, and then I will usually have something to do most evenings. 2020 started out the same for me. In fact, I got a new job at the end of January, and 2 weeks into that, my role within school changed quite significantly. However, I still managed to keep up the busy. Lots of coffees, lots of dinners, lots of church commitments. 5 weeks ago today, though, that changed. I had just finished a day in school where we had been planning for the imminent school closure. And I took a call from a neurologist in the Royal who had been reviewing an MRI scan that I had recently had. He was phoning to tell me that I needed to have emergency surgery to remove a lesion that had formed in my spinal canal and that was causing me numbness in my legs. Looking back, my initial thoughts were ridiculous. I questioned the timing. I had just started a new job which I was loving, and working with people who I was really enjoying getting to know. How could I leave the team to cope with school closure without me? Was I letting them down? Weirdly though, I didn't fear the surgery. I feared the thought of not being busy and not doing my job. As I drove home that afternoon, I was reminded of a favourite passage of mine, which I want to share with you now. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18 says, "Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for your life." I remember a person saying to me a wee while ago that this wasn't an optional thing, this was a command. As a Christian, I am meant to rejoice always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances. If you love Jesus, you're meant to do the same. You're meant to rejoice always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances. Easy. This is one of the ways Christians are meant to be different and stand out from the rest of the world. We're not meant to be so self-consumed that we lose focus and perspective. As Psalm 121 reminds us, we are meant to trust in the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He is the one who is in control. He is the one who watches over us and who keeps us from harm. When we grasp that, the command of 1 Thessalonians becomes a little easier. It's not up to us to keep the world spinning, and I certainly had to learn it wasn't up to me. That was a real light bulb moment. School would continue. My staff would continue working hard, whether I was there or not. I, however, needed surgery and needed it quickly, or else I wouldn't be walking for much longer. I remember hobbling up to bed that night, and my attitude changed. I started to feel thankful that in a few days' time I would be walking without pain. This was surgery I would recover from. My symptoms would reduce. I became thankful that we have people who can read MRI scans and know how to fix things. I was thankful I could go to hospital just before the peak of coronavirus hit. I was thankful that I knew I would leave hospital without an itemised bill to pay. And as I started naming things I was thankful for, God gave me a peace and a calmness that I needed. 4 days later, I was in the Royal, and after a 6-hour surgery, the lesion was removed. I had to lie still for 48 hours after surgery, something that was a very foreign concept for me. But during that time, I kept going over the words of 1 Thessalonians, "Rejoice always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances." I remember laughing as I prayed about this, as I literally could do nothing else for 48 hours. For someone who liked to be busy and didn't spend time reflecting, I now had all the time in the world to be still and to reflect. I was able to thank God for his perfect timing for my surgery, even though I didn't think that at the start. I was able to pray for and thank God for the nurses who looked after me so well. And even though I couldn't see them because I was staring at ceiling tiles, I was able to pray for the wee ladies in my bay. God allowed me time to pray for people that I wouldn't normally be praying for. What a privilege. Lockdown began just as I went into hospital, and a friend recently asked me if I was lonely during my 5-day stay, as I wasn't allowed visitors. I could confidently tell her that I was far from lonely, as I had a peace like I had never had before. I was exactly where God wanted me to be, and for that I could rejoice. Fast forward, I am now 4 weeks post-op and able to move around without any pain, which is wonderful. I do have a lovely 4.5-inch scar between my shoulder blades that I am forever thankful for and happy to show anyone who wants to see. My so-called busy life changed very quickly. And for all of us, life has become very different. Many people are talking about a slower pace of life in the midst of COVID-19. I wonder what the last 5 weeks have looked like for you. Have you been able to spend time rejoicing, being thankful and praying in all circumstances? If you have, that's great, keep it up. If this has been a struggle for you, that's okay too. But can I encourage you today to try to spend some time and thank God for all the blessings He has given to you. We worship and we pray to God who made heaven and earth. And as Gilbert reminded us last Sunday, the one who cares deeply about us as individuals. It's simple. He wants us to rejoice always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances.